This is When I Grow Up with Paul Glazby.
Sam?
Paul, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
We've known each other for a few years now. Probably four or 5 years.
6 years.
6 years.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, 6 years. Yeah, you're
6
right.
years.
And the reason I wanted to get you in, because you are by far the youngest person we've had on the When I Grow Up podcast. You're still yet to grow up.
I'm yet to grow up, that's it.
But when we met recently, you were telling me about what you're just about to embark on, which is joining the army.
Oh, yeah, it's new career path, Special Forces, direct entry.
Yep.
It's a great opportunity. Haven't even started yet, but I'm recommending it to everyone.
Okay.
So 10 weeks in Kapuka, initial training, and then joining the training squad for a year, and May next year you go for Special Forces. If you make it, you make it. If not, you keep kicking until the next year and go again. So.
Right. Well, if I know anything about you, Sam, it's that I reckon you will get in.
Oh, mate, honestly.
But I just thought, how amazing would it be to speak to somebody before they've started the journey, and then, you know, in a few years we can get back and...
Well, that's the thing. I know so many blokes out there, mates of mates, that, you know, have done Special Forces. You hear their stories, you hear everything. Obviously, you don't see anything beforehand. You always see all their epic stories afterwards. And, you know, I guess this could be something that is a before and after shot. So
yeah,
it's going to be a journey, one that, you know, I've come from Australian championships and World Championship races and professional athlete.
Well, that's some of the things I want to talk about. Yeah,
you know, I think I've got what it takes to get to that level of
that's
Special
what I said.
Forces,
What I said exactly. Yeah. So when we first met, you were a glass collector at Talabudger Reserve Club.
Yeah, that's right. So I just started my basically work life. I'd been in hospitality for 2 years. First ever job, picking up glasses, and
Got to start somewhere.
mate, that's it. Got to start somewhere.
Paper round for me.
Mate, I don't know. Don't know what that is.
Paper round, you know, delivering newspapers.
We had that when we were a kid.
Yeah.
It was fading off back then.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, well, it's a dying medium.
see when I grew up.
Everyone's into podcasts now. Yeah. But yeah, there was always something about you. You know, like you just seemed different to a lot of, you know, kids your age, because you would have been, hold on, what did we say, 6 years ago? So you would have been 17, wouldn't it?
16,
17,
yep,
yeah.
Yep, around that age.
And then we used to chat in the club. But then what really, not just me, but all the black and white team, when we'd get invited to the annual awards, and they'd bring everybody up, you know, like based on hours of service. So anyone that's listening to this is not sure what I'm talking about. You've got correct me if I'm wrong, at the surf club, you've got your lifeguards, you've got people that volunteer.
Yeah, so you've got your volunteer. They patrol from September until May. That's on the weekends and public holidays. Yep. So during school holidays, it's 7 till 6, and then you know, regular school weeks, it's 8 till 5.
Right.
So you know, if you're doing that every day, that's 1,000 odd hours.
Yeah. Because what would you have done? I remember you always used to either be the most or...
So I was most patrol hours for about 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Whilst working, training 20, 25 hours a week. I was working roughly 20 to 30 hours a week. And then, you know, I was at the back of year 12 as well. So I was doing about 350 to 400 patrol hours in the season from September to May.
So it's not even a year, is it? I mean, it's like...
It's not even a year, no.
Yeah.
It's a couple of months, and you're down there every weekend. You're helping out before that, after that. You're volunteering with meat raffles. It's endless, but it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
And I mean, I'm someone who's lost, you know, a close friend drowned. So I don't know where it was. It's somewhere on the Gold Coast. I'm not blaming you.
Not at all.
In fact, hold on. It was 20. It's before you were born. 24 years ago. On the 19th of December this year, it'll be 24 years. Yeah. Johnny was.
That's why you do it. Honestly, you're down there, and you're like, I don't want to see anyone drown. You're there for the rescues, the preventatives. Is that's the whole point of patrols, is for preventative measures. Before that drowning happens. And I mean, I performed hundreds of rescues from Talabudra Beach itself. In the boats, on the boards, tube rescues. Even had a little demonstration from the helicopter. Practice being rescued from a helicopter. There's just so many different ways. It's so much adrenaline when you're actually doing it. I mean, there's just no other emotion that you can describe. It's you're saving someone's life.
Yeah.
So that's something else.
And I guess that performing under pressure, that's going to serve you well when you move into your next, what you're just about to embark on. It's not like a completely foreign thing to you. Whereas most people, it will be. Most people would be like fit, which obviously you are, and we'll talk about that, in a minute. And think, oh yeah, I'll be able to do the army. But then you put them under extreme pressure,
and that's the thing.
They fall apart.
You only have to do 50. I think 50 is the minimum. So you get a roster of how many patrols you have to do. I think it's only like you're scheduled for 50 hours in that time frame. So you only really have to do 50. You don't have to do 300. You don't have to do 100.
Yeah.
But you just go down there because you love it. You don't go down there for the recognition. You don't go down there for the most patrol hours every year. I mean, you do go down there for the most patrol hours every year to win.
Yeah.
But you just love it.
Yeah.
It's I was there every day. I would work, and then I would life save, and then I would work, and it's just a cycle. It's like, oh, you're still training to be professional athlete, and you're still training to win, and I can still go and win these things, but this is just my lifestyle at the time. So, I mean, a lot changed in the years after that. When I got a real job, not a real job, but hospitality, and the hours decreased.
Yeah.
And
there's only so much you can do. You can't be.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, life goals changed. Yeah. Wanted to buy a house, and
which you did.
I grew up somewhat, so yet to still grow again, but I grew up from that. So
awesome. So your the sports, the explain to me the sport that you do. What are the?
So I started off as a runner. What was that year 7, year 6? I mean, I was always a runner through primary school, but sort of started more competitive in the year 7, year 8, which is 2016, 2017, sort of around those years. Competitive running, school, set a few school records, a few of the regional records for the schools sort of running. Once I finished school, sort of year 12 actually, Guy Andrews, Ironman legend, got me into triathlon. And he's like, mate, I reckon you'd go great in the triathlon. So I did my first triathlon. Here's me in a fluoro pink clubby singlet, a Guy Andrews road bike, not even, my size, and jumped on that. There's these kids with expensive bikes, been doing the sport for years, grown up with the sport, tri-suits. I'm on the line in this pink singlet, looking like an absolute clubby nipper. And
you were like Happy Gilmore when he turned up to play golf against all them other guys.
Honestly, just wearing whatever, looking like a goober.
Yeah.
Gave it a crack, and I'm a surf swimmer, so love swimming out in the surf, the waves, the chop. And this was actually up at Sunshine Coast in the kayaking lake, and picture it just dead flat with like a swimming pool with wind chop. And these triathletes are whinging, always whinging. Oh, it's so choppy, it's horrible, they can't do the swim in this. I'm like, mate, this is beautiful. I want some waves, get some waves. Anyway, I did well in the swim, come out up the front, and just held on the bike, just had to sit in.
Yeah.
Did the run, and I won. Beat the national champion.
Wow.
So that was a real eye-opener. Gave triathlon a go. I then did a couple of school national, 2 or 3 years of school triathlon in the nationals, representing basically Australia, Queensland. Then went on, Guy made me win my first Australian 2K soft sand beach run.
He made you win it.
He made me win it. It's his coaching, It's he'll always come back to me and say, it's you, son. It's you're the one who's done it. But I'm like, you put it on him. At the end of the day, it was your work, but
I think you did it. You're too modest. That's the problem.
Anyways, under 17s, we win that. And I think the year after, we won the under 19s. And then we had COVID, the second year of 19s. But long story short, I've won the Open 2K soft sand beach run 4 years in a row in the Opens.
So Opens means like any age group?
The open age group, yeah.
So who would the oldest be?
As old as you want.
Like as old as me?
You qualify for Masters when you're 30.
Oh, so up to 30 then? Or would
there's older guys.
Oh, so you're racing
there.
Men is what we're saying?
Yeah. It's anywhere from age of 19 to 18 to however old.
Right.
So winning my first Open Aussies was actually... where was it? So I gave my first Aussies Open a crack after a under 19s race. So I'd just done 2Ks in the soft sand in my under 19s age group, flat out, come in, have a 10-minute break. They were running the female Opens and the 19 and the other age group, 17s. And then they're like, all right, Opens. So I'm on the line, shoulder to shoulder with the world champion. Like,
and you've just done
I've just done 2Ks.
And what's he done? Has he just been resting?
He's fresh. He's ready. He's fit as a fiddle. Right. This guy's like next level. He's won it 3 years in a row already. Previous. Here's me doing my first Open race. Top 5.
What were you wearing for this one?
I was wearing the clubbies. I'm fitting in. I'm fitting right in. Anyways, we're doing the race. It's a sprint finish. I kick. I'm in front. I'm leading the Open race now. Now picture this. I've just done a race before. Yeah. Absolutely smashed. Now I'm beating the world champion. He just gives a bit of a kick, and I come second. Great year. Previous year, second year after, I'm fresh. I'm Opens only, and I win the Opens. Unreal feeling.
And was he in it that time?
He was out because of COVID, so he was out of the race, unfortunately. But anyways, I won my first one, and that was, the first of many, first of 4 or 8, if you're counting age groups. So that's the surf lifesaving reign. Didn't quite get a world championships in. We're injured for that one, but no, that was the claim to fame is. Four open Aussie champs and 8 overall, including age group. So, wow. Then we've got the triathlon career as well, of course. That's pretty good. We won a few Australian championships, a few Queensland point scores. We've represented Australia. I went and represented Australia in Townsville for the duathlon, the national duathlon.
So what's duathlon? Is that just
aquathlon, not duathlon? Aquathlon. Oh. So run, swim, run.
Oh, right, okay, right.
Another quick
Which
race.
Suits you because there's no bike.
Exactly. Yeah. Not a cyclist myself. And then I've done, off-road triathlons at Australian championships. I've won a few Australian championships there. I've done duathlons. I've done aquathons. I've done a whole bunch of these races, Australian champs, Queensland champs.
So basically you don't know what it's like to lose then, do you?
You know what it's like to lose. Oh, mate. It's...
Let me tell you, it sucks.
It sucks. It sucks, exactly. And, when you got your coach hounding on you, Yeah. He just pities... He doesn't really pity you. He just... It's like, you suck. It's like these... society's getting soft,
Well, it's like my kids. Like, if they, get upset because I'm like, well, try harder.
Well, that's
like, you didn't win or you didn't because you just weren't as good as the other people. Just get better.
Exactly. That's the motive these days. I'm a qualified PT. I could go into fitness industry, but it's full of influences. And you tell someone they suck, and that's it. You've lost your client.
Actually, I did an episode with a guy called Danny Pilkington. He's the gyms that I used to have. He bought me out. He was my head trainer. Amazing guy, ex-army. In fact, you should listen to that episode. To be honest, the internet connection was terrible, so it didn't quite come out as good as it should have. But a hilarious guy, and he spent his, I think it was his 21st birthday, like out on like manoeuvres, like in the Scottish Highlands, and then, oh no, that might have been his. I get mixed up. But anyway, one of his birthdays, he was on patrol in Belfast, you know, like with all the conflict that they were having in Northern Ireland.
Yep.
So, yeah, he then he went and he was in the Coldstream Guards, you know, the guys that with the red jackets and the big Busby
Queen's Guards.
hats. Yeah.
Yep.
He was one of those. But anyway, so he's been a personal trainer for a long time, and was certainly one of the best trainers we had at the gym. And then he took it over. But he said he's stepping away because he's just sick of, you know, people just not wanting to do the work, not wanting to, you know, constantly have got excuses about why they can't do this and that. And some people do, you know, some people genuinely have an injury or something. But
well, you bring it to that and you say the excuses and time, right? So picture this, my schedule, one weekend of training. So I have no time. That's the common excuse you get, right?
Yeah.
So Saturday morning, yeah, my mate, all right, mate, I'm setting my alarm for 1:30. I'll meet you at this spot at 2 a.m. 2 a.m. on Saturday morning, all right? You know, we met there, we cycled 70 to 80K. You know, we did that first session. We then went straight to the surf club, went for a quick run. Just a quick run, and then we did
80 kids on the bike's not enough. Yeah,
exactly, it's not enough. We went for a run for an hour or so, and then we did an Ironman session. So surf skis, surfboards, swimming, running on the beach. Did that. I then did patrol for say 2 hours afterwards, just to get the hours in. I then crammed up to work 11 till 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. If that wasn't enough, I went home. You know, riding my bike at this stage, didn't have a license, so I was riding my bike. It was about 10K. So made that home by, you know, 10 o'clock-ish. It's dark. It's, you know, you go to bed, wake up the next day, all right, basically do the same thing again. And it's just your weekend.
It's your weekend.
It becomes a lifestyle, eh? You know, you're running along the Esplanade and you're seeing all these people stumbling out of nightclubs and, you know, just still enjoying their night. I don't know if they're enjoying it at that stage, but, you know, it's like, it's not for me.
Yeah.
You know,
I must admit, because I used to be really unhealthy, and then I changed my lifestyle, eventually became a personal trainer. And I just got into I lost the weight, and I was like all about, you know, whenever I traveled, I'd have all the, you know, like resistance bands and stuff, so that I could always just do some kind of session. Yep. And because I got jet lag, so I was wide awake in the middle of the night, and I got my shorts and t-shirt on, and I went, and I was in Adelaide, and I'm running through Adelaide at like 2 a.m. and exactly like you said, people stumbling out of pubs and stuff. And as I'm running, this police van came up like at the side of me, and you know, like eventually I'm like, okay, so I stopped, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm over from England. I've got jet lag. I've started." And they're like, "Oh, okay, carry on." And then I ran on a bit further, and then a police car stopped me, and he's like, "You the English guy?" I'm like, "Yep." He went, "Carry on." So they'd obviously radioed like there's some idiot running around it.
No, well, that's honestly it. It reminds me of COVID-19. We had full lockdown, so you couldn't go within 5-kilometre radius from your house.
I bet you did.
I don't know how far it was, but
about 80 k's, I reckon,
something like that. So you're out. You know, you're cycling. You're on your own. You're social distancing at the max. There was no cars on the road, which was amazing. Out doing this big loop, so it's like 130K. Hilly through Number Valley. You go up to the cattle grid to cross into New South Wales, and I've got the shut. So the police are up there. Stop there, sir. What can I do for you, mate? So why are you out here? I'm like, I'm cycling. Can't see. So all right, well, you know, it's dangerous out here. I'm like, what's going on? What is it? It's like, it's we're in lockdown. You need to be at home. I was like, oh, well, can I just cross into the border and finish my loop? If I have to go back, it's super hilly. It's a lot harder. He's like, no. Do you want me to issue a fine? You know, you want a letter? You want a fine? I was like, no, it's all right, mate. I'll turn around and go home. So sent me on my way. And
I just think, like, the guy that said that to you, does he realise how ridiculous
he's coming close to me. Plus a few, they're all sitting around there in the van and, you know, drinking coffee and sitting up by the border and, hang on a minute, don't come near me, mate. If, you know, it's so dangerous. Like,
yeah, but you're right in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's just ridiculous, that whole period.
Anyway, that was a good phase of training, actually, that whole COVID-19. There was no boats on the water I was training for the Coolangatta Gold, doing heaps of ski paddling and board paddling and open water surf swimming. You know, there was no one at the beaches. You had the beaches to yourself. Cycling, the roads were free. Yeah. It was epic by all means. You know, highly illegal, but mate, we loved it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when you walk into a cafe with a mask on, but then when you sit down,
you can take it off.
Take it off because apparently COVID doesn't affect you when your legs are at 90 degrees.
Down, not when you've got a meal and a drink. No.
Yeah, ridiculous.
So.
So, and then I remember you telling me that Guy was trying to push you towards like an Olympic run. Is that right?
Yeah, it was sort of the end of year 12.
So you would have been 17 then?
17, just finishing up school. Guy was like, hey, we need to seriously talk about your career. And, you know, it could be anything. It could be Olympic distance. It could be Ironman. It could be 70.3. It could be sprint triathlons, you know. Where do you want to take it? And I said, it's a tough question. You know, it's like if you're at a job interview and they ask you your strengths, your weaknesses, you get put on the spot, you fumble. And I honestly said, I want to have a gap year, a break. And, you know, that didn't happen. I just kept training, but I didn't push myself to that next level because that again is another lifestyle on its own. You know, you have to give up work. You have to give up basically money. You know, there's not much money in racing in Australia for triathlon. You have to travel. Yeah. You have to have those sponsors, that backing for that. And my goal, you know, I wanted to buy a house. I wanted to sort of be comfortable with money, and you know, taking that triathlon path wasn't viable. I guess that was my reason for not going to the Olympics, so to say.
Be interested to see what would have happened though.
Mate, honestly, like that's like everyone gets jealous. You know, everyone's always talking about weight this and gaining weight and putting on fat and muscle and whatever. And you know, I've been trying to put on weight since August last year, and you know, buying all these protein powders and creatine and this and that. And you know, everyone's like, "Oh, this will put on muscle, that'll put on fat." You know, nothing. I've put on 2 kilos, and it's just lean muscle. Like,
are you still cycling 80 Ks though?
I've actually cut out the cycling. I've cut
okay.
out the swimming since January.
Yeah.
So,
well, I've seen on Instagram some of you do those time lapse.
Yeah. So I don't know. It sort of inspires me from, you know, Commando Steve. He was on The Biggest Loser as one of the coaches, and obviously Commando. So who's in the Commandos where I'm headed, and he's got into CrossFit. So he posts all these CrossFit workouts, and you know, you just go in and rip in. Yeah. You know, 300 burpees for time was one of them, and I was like, yeah, let's just give that a go. And you know,
I just
75
felt a little bit sick when you said
that. You know, this is what you find fun. Yeah.
It's amazing what the human body can do. It's amazing what my human body could do at one point. We can't do it anymore.
Mate,
I'm trying to get back into it.
Anything's possible.
Just going back to the life-saving stuff, like, have you got is there any like stories of, you know, that really stand out when you've like rescued people?
One thing you won't say, you know, didn't give you PTS, but you thought about it for a few weeks, definitely. It was just a regular windy old afternoon down here at Tally Beach. Someone actually ran up from the dog beach down at the rock wall. So picture you're at the surf club. You got the rock wall that's 200 meters away. Someone runs up from there. You know, there's a deadly rip down there. It's so dangerous. You know, there's red flags up there. Everyone's told not to swim. Some gentleman runs up and there's a guy drowning. There's a guy drowning. And we're like, wow, okay. You know, I run down there on foot. At this time, I was a young fella, so I didn't have my qualifications for the boat or the ATV, so I couldn't zoom down there. So I just ran with the legs I got. Zoom down there. The boat's rushing out there. Everyone's on full go mode. You get down there, the boat pulls in this international gentleman, fully clothed, typical rescue, situation. We drag him in. Everyone's, we drag him up the beach. It's low tide, so it's easily to get some dry sand. At this time, he's not breathing. He's just dead. Drag him up the beach.
So what's it? He's gone in fully clothed, or has he fallen in? Or do we not know?
He's gone in. He's just been swept off his feet. Doesn't speak much English.
Because he's an international gentleman.
Yes.
That's the politest way of saying it I've ever heard anyone say
it. And
where are you from? I'm international.
International. Anyways, this gentleman's not breathing. We roll him on his side. Starts vomiting straight away. His gut. I don't know if you've ever pulled anyone from the water. Their gut is just inflated. It's just the water, the mass intake of water. Their lungs have just been filled up. They're drowning.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's vomiting up water. He's coming back to life. First thing that happens, this gentleman is vomiting, sort of foaming at the mouth. He comes back to life. We're pretty lucky we don't have to do any compressions, just recovery position, and he's back. The first thing he actually says, though, when he recovers is, "Where's my phone?" That is something I will remember till this day is, "Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Where's my phone?" And I kid you not, that goes around my head. Wow. Is you rescue this guy, he's basically dead. You roll him over, he's coughing out water. As soon as he gets consciousness, "Where's my phone?"
It just shows you how people are
ignorant.
Yeah. Although I can tell you a story. I've only ever passed out twice in my life. Once was at school when the teacher was talking about testicular cancer. So the girls went in one room and the guys were in another room, and then they started talking about testicular cancer. Yep. And I remember the sun coming through and just getting all, and I got up and walked out of the classroom, got to the next door, fell through that door, and the next thing I knew, the teacher stood over me. Not my teacher, just some other teacher had been walking down the corridor. He's like, "What are you doing, Glazby?" And I'm like, just sparked out on the floor. That was the first time. The second time, I went to see, I don't know, it was Saw 3 or Saw 4, one of the sequels to the Saw films.
Yep.
And the point of this story will become clear in a second. So, and I'd seen the first Saw, second Hostel, not that stuff doesn't bother me, but for some reason, the beginning of this particular Saw is when Jigsaw's he must have died in the previous film, and they're doing the film starts with like an autopsy. So it must be something to do with that kind of medical stuff that weirds me out. And they're cutting the top of his head off, and I'm just starting to feel, and this is right at the beginning of the film, like literally the credits are just still going on while all this is happening. And I'm sat and I'm with two mates, and Tim there's me, Tim, and another kid called Paul. Well, Tim, lovely guy, but a little bit weird. I love you, Tim, but you are a bit weird. And so I start and I'm like, my legs are thrashing around, and I'm just feeling all like messed up. And Tim just kind of turns his back to me, instead of if I'd be like, "What's wrong? Are you all right?" But he just turned his back to me. And luckily, I'm sat on the aisle seat, so I'm halfway up the cinema. And you've got the middle section, and then you've got the two sides. So we're on the left-hand side looking at the screen. Anyway, this autopsy bit finishes, and then it goes like a typical Saw film to some kind of torture thing and all this heavy metal. I mean, I like heavy metal, but in that scenario, I'm like, Jesus. So I'm just getting worse and worse. And didn't know if I were going to puke or shit myself. I was just... Yep. So I get up, and I managed to get down the stairs. And everyone in the cinema was thinking, "Look at this wanker!" Because the film's just started and I'm leaving.
Yep.
I managed to get out of the cinema, and I remember trying to get to the toilet, and I was holding onto the wall. Walked into the toilet, and as I went into the toilet, I just went down. Anyway, as I opened my eyes, there's somebody stepping over me. So I'm laid unconscious on my back in the middle of the toilet floor, and someone's stepping up. Because I remember, like, I'm like looking up between this guy's legs as he stepped across.
Lovely.
And the first thing I did was check if I got my phone. Like, I didn't know if he'd robbed me. And then, so I'm just laid there. And then one of the stalls opened, and this guy, and he's like, "Oh my God, are you all right?" And he helped me up, and then I put some water on my face, and I didn't bother going back into the film.
Where's my phone?
But in that first reaction is, "Have I got my phone?"
Yeah, wow.
So I kind of get the international gentleman.
There you go.
I see where he's coming from.
Oh yeah, so apart from that, that's one of the most memorable ones.
Right.
I haven't had any deal with any deaths, which is that's a good thing. That's what you're there for. You're there for preventers.
Yeah.
Only. You've been in the IB. You've picked up surf skis off the rocks. You've rescued people zipping out that mouth at 100 mile an hour and just pick them up. Just like sitting ducks in that current, just pick them up. You could sit there on one Saturday afternoon and just pick up 10 to 15 people, just one out of the other.
So what happens? They just get caught in the rip and it pulls them.
Not the rip, just the current, the tides.
Right.
Tides moving out of that creek. For me, it's second nature. We swim there in the mornings, using the tide, having fun. You're playing around in those rips. You love it. 6 foot surf, the beach is closed. You're out there playing around, having fun. It's just the Gold Coast life. It's where we live.
Yeah.
And that's from surf lifesaving. Obviously, you rescues is part of the thing. You're having fun out in boats, and nothing serious, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So that's why we're there.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the other thing I noticed on your socials, and we spoke about it as well a couple of weeks ago, is that your sense of adventure. Like, you squeeze every last drop out of the Gold Coast, don't you? There's things I've seen on your Instagram that I'm like, Jesus Christ, I didn't even know that was
it. Again, Guy Andrews for this one. Play Outside GC. He's just created an exploring. So, he's getting into a market of exploring the Gold Coast. He's done it for years, and now he's creating a market. We're exploring one of those tracks through Mount Cougal. So you go up through an old squatter's hut. It's where the squatters used to live in Currumbin Valley. Right. It's all discontinued. Yep. You go up through there. You go up the border, the border fence, following this barbed wire fence. You're bashing through cane fields. You're on your hands and knees, quite literally, crawling through these fields. You're up to waist height, reeds, just looking your path. Anyway, we got to this. There'd been a tree fallen down, and picture this like a 10 to 15 metre cliff. We are rock climbing up it. You look back, you don't want to look back. It's straight off the cliff.
Sounds like a health and safety nightmare.
It's good fun. That's what it is. You get to the top, and mate, the view's just unreal. Come down the back. We're running down this hill, following these people. Have obviously been up there. Crazy people like us. Pink tape marked everywhere. You're following it. Paper map, compass, just exploring the place. You turn right and you could go off a cliff, and you turn left, you could go off a cliff. You go straight, if you know what straight is, and it's fine. Following these ridge lines, massive cliffs, absolutely beautiful, vines. We had to chuck long sleeve, long pants on because there's just so many vines, and that's what you live for. I'm going into the army, and this is out for the adventure. Packs on, out in the bush, off you go. This is it. Everyone's like, oh, that's so bad. There was one part of this. Kid you not. You don't need to pay $50 to go to an amusement park. Come out to Currumbin Valley. We're up the top of this cliff, and this is where they used to throw, quite literally, this is where they used to throw the logs down Currumbin Hill, the old sawmill. You can see where they've cut some of these stumps. Right. We're up the back here. We're coming down the hill to go into the creek off this ridgeline, and I slid for about 50 metres just in this leaf litter. The leaf litter is about half a metre thick, and you're just sliding. There's no trees to grab because they're all dead or they're all gone, and you're just sliding down this leaf litter. My watch said I got to 45 kilometres an hour sliding. On my ass. I get to the bottom eventually, heaps of leaves piled up, and sort of stopped. I'm like, Guy, that was epic, mate. Hell, let's send it. He's like, mate, I didn't think you were going to stop. You just kept sliding. And it's epic. You're out here for free. Nature's playground. The best playground.
Okay, so all them places in Surfers Paradise where you can go and like go the adventure playgrounds. That's
that's overrated. Go out and go for a hike.
Yeah.
So.
This is amazing though. What's like when you think you'd like the beach is there, and then you've got.
I've been living here for
like the jungle,
nearly 23 years, and I've been out there dozens of times, 20, 30, 40 times, cycling, running, just socializing, and I've never walked on that track. Like, I've walked that sort of walk 2 or 3 times, never that actual one. To think that that's right there, Australia is such a vast place. That's in the radius of 5 kilometers that I've been, 50, 60 times, and I've never been in that one spot before.
Yeah,
like there's so much to explore on the Gold Coast, and I say to all the people, I used to work in Surfers Paradise, and the tourists would be like, "Oh, so what can you recommend around here?" And quite literally, the speech goes, "Nothing."
Yeah.
Go to Burleigh. Come to Burleigh. Come to Coolangatta. You got to come down here. You're staying in the wrong spot. Palm Beach, Burleigh. You've got a national park and a beach right there.
Yeah.
How much better does it get?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people. Obviously being in real estate, like I see the need, and that's why prices have gone like they have, because everyone's wanting to come to experience and have all this stuff on the doors. But I guarantee that the people that are living here, myself included, are not tapping into 98.7% of what's there.
Nature's playground. Like you call, we've got the cream track. My sister's been talking about it. They're 14. It's called the cream track. The cream track. Okay. So it links Talabudra Valley to Springbrook National Park. It's 740 meters worth of elevation in it. You're just going straight up. Again, it's one of these tracks that, if you haven't done it before, you're going to get lost. And then you're coming down it again. And
do you take anything with, like, just in case you do get lost? Have you got, like, some distress flares or anything, or like a...
You've got your mobile phone, in this day and age, but half the time...
Do you get reception out there?
It's SOS only.
Oh, okay.
Or no service, so you just got to keep walking and
Did you hear about that guy? I don't know where it was, but he got stranded on some, like, mountain...
On the first date? Was it that one?
Oh, no, some kid, and he was lost for, like, 3 days... And they'd been calling his phone, but because it was no caller ID, he didn't answer. They finally found him. They're like, "We've been calling." He's like, "Oh, I just never answered it."
There was this.
He thought it was a telesales.
Foolish. There was this one kid actually I saw on the news the other day. It was his first date, and he was up in the mountains on Sunshine Coast somewhere, and he'd fallen off the cliff, and the date had to call the helicopter to come rescue him off this cliff.
Oh, Jesus!
So get that for a first date.
They won't forget it, will they?
There you go. Rememberable.
So when you being drafted? Is that what they call it?
Yeah,
I'm saying it like
enlistment.
I know.
Enlistment date. It's 5th of May. So
soon.
A couple of days, less than a week, and we're
nervous.
I don't know what to feel. I don't know what you call it. It's excited. But you don't want to go in there with ego. You don't want to go in there with, excitement. You don't want to go in there with nerves. You don't know what to feel. You get so many different mixed opinions. Like, it's going to be scary. It's going to be stressful. They're going to be yelling at you. You get people like, "Oh yeah, you breeze through it. Oh yeah, it was easy." Or it's physically tough, but it's not. You're physically tough. And then you get people saying, "Oh, it's torture," and all these perspectives that you get. I mean, it's. Like anything in life, you get 100 different things, but until you actually do it, and you can't say what.
Yeah, because that's right. I mean, every experience, like different people react to it in different ways, won't they?
Exactly.
But I think
it's a journey and adventure I'm ready to embark on.
Yeah. Exciting. I'll tell you what you should check out is, in fact, it came out today, Daryl's episode. So he was, in fact, no, did you listen to it?
I listened to the teaser.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, so he's basically got a couple of... So he, after leaving the army, then went into teaching, but then he's gone into like the virtual reality gaming and AI stuff, and he's got 2... one of the games that he created was supposed to be getting picked up by the Australian Defence Force, but then they were getting messed around past backwards and forwards between departments or something. So they just released it on the App Store. And then he was saying that they get soldiers from all around the world emailing them and thanking them. You know, when they're doing the when they have to shoot something that's far away and they miss, and it's the calculation to sort of get the shots on target.
Okay,
there's a particular thing, and this game sort of helps them train that.
Yeah, right.
And then he brought a gun in, just a gel blaster gun, but he's a VR shooting game. So you download the app and then you buy the mount that they've sort of created that clips it to your gun, and then you look at, but it's got like a, you know, the actual the mount's got like a sight on it, so that as you look through the sight, and they brought it in, I was playing with it last week, it like magnifies your phone.
Okay.
So you're not just looking at you are just looking at your phone, but when you look through the thing, it looks like you're looking at something, you know, like a landscape sort of thing. Crazy. It magnifies it.
No way.
And then within the game, you know, on the screen, you've got the targets. He said there's all sorts of different games. There's like zombie ones, but the one he showed me, it was just targets on a range. But as you're, you know, moving left and right, it looks like you're moving.
Epic.
Like, so soldiers use that, because what he was saying is that in the army, trying to get, he was saying that the practice ranges are essentially like Laser Quest, you know, these big facilities that they have to book to go on, and so these guys don't get to. It's a big sort of rigmarole to sort of get time in these ranges, so the guys are not getting the reps in that they need. So this game apparently helps them.
Yeah, right.
You know, nice.
Yeah,
keep up the practice, but you can do it anywhere. I think I'm going to download it. It's amazing. Like, because you can, in your back garden, you can just, you know.
That's the thing, you know. I'm not sure what to expect again, and you know, you're hearing stories, and it gets you excited. But then you're like, you know, you don't want to go in there with excitement and think it's something else. So yeah, it's just it's like going into a race. Got to tame those emotions, you know, harness them, use them as energy. Don't let them use you for energy. Something else, you know, you learn, and you see a lot of people struggling with nerves, but you know, it's like before a race, you'll sit there. It's usually the day before, you know, I'll get nervous the day before, get those butterflies through your belly, find, you know, music that gets you nervous. Come to the day, no nerves, just you switch it off. Because if you're switching it off, you know, you're ready to go. If you go into that day with nerves, it's over. You know, it uses you. It's like doing a race before a race. It's just eating up in you. So
yeah, I watch a lot of UFC, and you see some of the guys that like have that like adrenaline dump in the first round. You know, like and then just.
Well, it's like all my family, they know to stay away from me during if it's race week. I'm grumpy.
Okay.
You know, the nerves are just there. You know, you're switching everything off. You don't want to talk. You don't want to. You're just getting rid of the nerves, using them all now. You know, so it comes to race day and you're fresh. You know, you don't want anything on your mind. You turn your notifications off the day before. Your phone's off. You go into the day fresh. You don't want any other thoughts, anything going through your head except for your race plan. Yeah. Once that race plan's going through your head, you're set. You know, if you're going in there with, oh, this person messaged me about this, you know, this person asked about work, this person asked about, you know, this person shared me this funny video, this song played, you know, if you're fresh, you're ready. If you're distracted, you're going to be distracted for the race. You know, you're out of it. So,
yeah, I've been no good at that. I can't turn my phone off.
That's what they say in the army. It's all mental. You know, it's all a mental game. You know, they'll tell you to get out and you suck and you just got to keep going. I guess that's what I've been told anyway. And
what about like when you're there? Do you still have contact with the? You know, will you be able to like phone home?
Once again, I was meant to be told 2 days ago as to when I go, but I haven't been told yet. Right. So I'd say, you know, they're stripping of everything. You can take your phones and stuff, but I think contact's minimal. I mean, if you've ever been to a festival, they put the cell jammers around the place. I think the same's going to be around the base, keeping it old school. So
well, might be a good thing.
Exactly.
At least if you prepare for it and then you get there and you've got full service.
Well, to disconnect is to reconnect. You know, I guess same thing. You know,
exactly.
Like
a philosopher, aren't you,
mate?
That's Guy, isn't it? That's Guy.
Guys, what's leave this one with you. FSTC. It's a hashtag before a race.
FSTC.
FSTC. It's to get serious before a race. So, he'll go in the race and be like, mate, just FSTC.
And what's FSTC?
I can't say that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
We'll put it in the show notes.
You can. Hashtag FSTC. So
okay.
That's a Guy Andrews one for you.
Right. I'm usually pretty good with it. Well, thanks for coming in. I can't wait to get you back at some point.
And
what about your hair? What happens to your hair?
Mate, it's gone. The mo's gone. Everything's gone. So I was going to get a haircut actually a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hang on. I'm getting a haircut.
I get a free haircut
in May for free. They're
yeah.
getting the buzz cuts going. The clippers are coming.
One of my favourite scenes in any film. Have you ever seen? And this is well before you were born. Police Academy.
I don't think I have. No.
Right. There's a bit where there's these. It's amazing. There's these two guys that like they want to be the best. Like they want to try and sort of show that they're the best, and they get in there. And they just like get their head shaved, and then the next guy comes and goes, "Oh, just a little bit off the sides." And then they're like, "What?" And he's like, "Well, it's not the army," because they're just in the police.
Yeah.
Well, if your phone is working, send me when you get the when you're all buzzed up. Send me a picture.
Haircut, anyways, everything's going.
Yeah,
we all look the same. That's all right.
Just leave your eyebrows on.
Oh yeah, I said that. What if you get the eyebrows too? Does that count? The eyelashes, the eyebrows.
My little one, she's just turned 11, and she came home the other day, and she, when the kids do that like cut in their eyebrow,
isn't that stupid?
Ridiculous. So I've told her it's going to grow back all bushy. So
that's it. You shave your legs, it grows back twice as hairy.
Exactly.
So.
All right, mate. Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Will do. I'm sure I'll be back here.
Yeah, let's get you back.
Amazing.
Nice one. Cheers, Sam.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
This is When I Grow Up with Paul Glazby.